there was actually somebody that I met about 10, 15 years ago who was like the first woman to climb like all 7 summits in the world.
Oh, no way.
And, when I was talking to her, I'm like, why did you do this? Why did you decide I can't even climb one? Like,
Right.
I'm like afraid of heights, right? And she said, I didn't want to turn 70 one day or years from now. I didn't want to become 70 years old and think, what did I do?
Yeah.
She wanted to look back and think about something amazing that she did. And that really spoke to me. I thought, things are going really well. But I don't know if I wanted to look back years from now and say, you know what, I stuck with corporate America forever and ever. I want to do something on my own. And I had this other fashion challenge, I guess, if you will, right. that I ran into. And so as I was about to turn 30, I thought this would be the perfect time to launch my business, leave corporate America, and start my 30s with a bang.
Hey guys, I had a great conversation today with Vienne Cheung Brown. She was actually a borrower of mine. I helped her buy a house and learned all these great things about her. So through her life, she's always been super artistic and loved bringing products to life. She had a successful career in high tech, but then decided to follow her passion for fashion. She opened VienneMilano in 2011, and it's only been up from there. Enjoy the show, guys. You'll love it.
The mic drop.
Subscribe to success.
Okay, guys, here we are on another episode of The Mic Drop, powered by Premier Mortgage Lending. This is actually pretty cool today. I actually have one of my borrowers that I helped buy a house on the show, Vienne Cheung Brown. I almost said Milano. Oh, VienneMilano. That's your company.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Right? Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, and I'm so glad you reached out to me. So I helped Vienne purchase a home. What was that? Maybe a little over a year ago?
No, it was this year.
Was it?
Yeah.
I know. Blends
Things
by.
go so fast.
Especially with COVID too. It's like I've gotten like last year and this year all jumbled. So, we helped her purchase a home, and then she reached out because she has a company that she started on her own, which is, as anybody that watches and listens to the podcast knows that's what I love to talk about. So welcome. I can't wait to hear your story. And tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you grew up,
Sure.
all good things.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Thank you for helping us with our home purchase. I can't thank you enough because it was a difficult time at that point.
Yeah.
It's been a difficult market, I guess.
Very challenging when you're buying. Very challenging.
Yeah. But a little bit about myself. So I'm originally from Hong Kong. I moved to Brookline, Massachusetts some 30 years ago. So I grew up in Brookline, but I've been in the New England area since. I started VienneMilano about 10 years ago.
Yep.
But before that, I worked in high tech.
So, all right. So I always do this to everyone. We're going to take it way, way back.
Sure.
All right. So how old were you when you moved here from Hong Kong?
I was 6 years old.
Okay. So you were 6 years old. You moved here. Did you speak English at the time?
A little bit. I knew Hello Kitty.
Okay.
I wanted to introduce myself to my new friends as Hello Kitty because that was the only thing I knew.
Sure.
And I knew like the alphabet, but that was it.
All right. Well, that's why it makes this story even better. So you moved here. What's that? First grade?
Yep,
6 years old,
exactly.
something like
First
that?
grade. Yep.
Yep. So not only did you have to, move, for some kids, you moved just to a new school.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
New country.
You moved to a new
everything.
country,
Yeah.
new language, new culture, everything.
Yep.
I'm sure that alone was challenging when you were a little kid.
You know what? It actually was a lot easier because where I came from, like everything had required rigorous testing, meaning, by the age I was 2, I had to get tested to go into like preschool. And then by the time I was in first grade, I had to get tested to go into the school that I went to.
Right.
And so here, when I moved here, I'm like, oh my God, it's so easy. It's so simple. It was like, wow, I couldn't believe how few tests there were, which is great because I can now focus on like doing things I really wanted to do, right? Drawing and doing creative things. So yeah, it was very different.
It's an interesting perspective, and that's true though. I think that it helps to be well-rounded, right? So where you were from, if it was testing very rigorous with academics only, right, it makes it hard because kind of your other interests and other things you want to explore kind of have to get pushed aside, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all about memory. At the time, it was all like, you have to remember this, remember that, da, da,
Right.
da.
Is that the way, and that's new to me, I didn't know that. So is that the way kind of it goes all the way through the education system?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of testing all the way till, I guess, high school. Yeah.
That must be stressful.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
My parents always joke that if we lived in Hong Kong, they probably wouldn't have had another child because I remember them in childhood. They were actually staying up till like 9 p.m. helping me with homework and everything. And so,
When
yes,
you were there?
before
so
we
at 5,
moved
6
here.
years old?
Yes.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. And so by the time we moved here, I don't think they had time to help me with homework, but they didn't need to either.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my kids, their homework is done in, I don't know, half an hour, an hour. Seriously, and that's my little guys. My older one, who's 16, obviously he's sophomore in high school, so that's a little bit longer. But the little guys, if they even have homework, you know what I mean, they're in 4th and 3rd grade. If they even have any significant amount of homework, it takes them 30 minutes to do, and they move on.
They're done. Yeah.
They're done. All right, so you move here. Did you? So you lived in Brookline all the way through elementary school, high school?
Yep.
Okay. Where'd you go to college?
I went to UMass Boston,
UMass Boston.
and then I also went to Bentley as well.
Now, did you get undergraduate and then
Yep.
a graduate degree?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school for?
So in UMass Boston, I went there for my fine art degree. And then, when I was working, I was a graphic designer.
Yep.
I was actually a creative director for a small .com company. And I realized in order to grow my business or grow my career, actually, at the time, I needed to learn more.
Yeah.
And so I went back to school and attended Bentley for my MBA.
Wonderful. So you were kind of in the arts, and then you wanted to get your business degree as well.
Yep.
I mean, great combination, right?
Yeah.
Because then you can take your artistic side and learn how to make
And
money.
sell it. No.
Yeah, learn how to make money with it,
Yeah.
right? That's important,
Yep.
You need to make some money to survive. So that's a good thing. All right, so you finished school, and then you got into, what do you say, you were in tech? You work for a tech company?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, the transition wasn't quite all like that.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I was in, graphic design. I was designing websites for a while,
Yeah.
and then the actually real reason I went into business as well was not only to grow my career, but I actually went to Bentley for human factor information design. So I was doing like design. I was designing websites or learning the human factor part of it. And I did a study abroad program during that program.
Can I stop you real quick?
Sure.
What is that?
Sure. So no, it's a great question. That's actually, you're proving my point exactly. So so human factor information design is basically when you're designing a website based on how someone would, interact. There's
Okay.
a lot of usability testing and everything involved with that subject. But it was because I went to the study abroad program, we went to Eastern Europe, and nobody knew what the heck I was studying.
Right.
To your point exactly, I'm like, you know what, maybe I should go into a little bit more deeper into business because that is a language that everybody speaks.
Right.
Commerce in particular, it's one of the oldest,
Sure.
business in the world, right? And so that was really one of the reasons why I went into to finish my MBA at Bentley as opposed to finishing off with a human factor information degree.
So when you went to Bentley, you were going for that. You weren't necessarily going for the MBA?
It originally didn't start that way, but it morphed into it because I was like, well, you know what? I think I'm in a business. Well, I don't think. I knew I was in a business school.
That's a business school.
Yeah. So why not take advantage of this?
Yeah. You know what I like about that? I like it when people make adjustments, right? I've always found that, and I do it all the time. Some people here, and my wife especially, kind of laughs because, they say it depends, what Mike's going to do depends on the day you ask him. You know what I mean? I could say something today,
Yeah.
but then I could change my mind tomorrow, and then I'm going to make an adjustment and go in that direction. Because I feel like as you go, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. I think sometimes people think that, oh, if I decide I'm going on this path, then that's the path I need to stay on
Yeah.
and finish it and commit to it. No, it's not that you're quitting anything. You're just adjusting and you're going a different way
Yep.
because you learn as you go.
So long as you're consistently inconsistent, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. If you're consistently this and then you go like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But if you operate in a way where you something comes in a direction makes you shift or change, that's a good thing.
Yep.
Right. So I like that's pretty cool. I like to hear that you did
you.
that. So you kind of pivoted there. You finished your MBA.
Yep.
And then where'd you go from there?
So I worked in high tech. I worked for a company called Akamai, actually. And I was in software in the products world. And up until that point, everything was great. But there was actually somebody that I met about 10, 15 years ago who was like the first woman to climb like all 7 summits in the world.
Oh, wow.
And, when I was talking to her, I'm like, why did you do this? Why did you decide I can't even climb one? Like,
right.
I'm afraid of heights, right? And she said, I didn't want to turn 70 one day or years from now. I didn't want to become 70 years old and think, what did I do?
Yeah.
She wanted to look back and think about something amazing that she did. And that really spoke to me. I thought, things are going really well. But I don't know if I wanted to look back years from now and say, you know what, I stuck with corporate America forever and ever. I want to do something on my own. And I had this other fashion challenge, I guess, if you will, that I ran into. And so as I was about to turn 30, I thought this would be the perfect time to launch my business, leave corporate America, and start my 30s with a bang.
So how long were you working in corporate America for? 5, 6 years after school?
So altogether, it was 8 years.
What, 8 years?
Not all for the same company,
Right.
but
And what were you doing exactly at that time?
so launching products. So
Okay.
I worked in the products department for a high-tech company.
Yep.
It was software. It was platform. Well, what Akamai does is that it's a network of servers all around the world. So if you're if you're surfing on AOL or Victoria's Secret or NFL, for example, actually that's their story. Is that if you're surfing online and all of a sudden there's a lag, what do? Well, what you can do is you can pay for a service like Akamai where they distribute their content throughout servers all over the world.
Okay.
Anyway, so my role in that is very, very small. It was to, help product managers and to launch their software on these networks.
Okay.
And so you may be thinking, what the heck does that have to do with my work now?
Well, no, I'm kind of piecing it together, right? So, so I wanted to kind of figure out what you're doing for work. Did you love that?
I did.
Yeah.
Mainly because, it was coordination.
Yeah.
And I got to work with a lot of people and I got to learn a lot of things, but it was just not enough at the end of the day.
Yeah. It sounds interesting, no doubt about it. But tell me a little bit about what so I know obviously you have a very artistic side, right? What like in what medium, what did you enjoy to do on that side?
Well, photography. I love photography.
Okay.
Graphic design, I think I mentioned before. But as a kid, I loved to draw.
Yeah, you said drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what did you like to draw?
Everything.
Everything. Really?
Yeah. I don't mean to brag, but like there are
Brag away.
there have been times when a group of girlfriends and I will sign up to drawing classes or whatever, and there'll be somebody walking around trying to help us, improve our drawings. But when we take classes like this, the guy in charge is always like, "Oh, I'm not going to touch the master at work."
Right.
And so I do have that creative side.
Yeah.
I wish I had more time for it, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Like I love to paint, I love to draw, but
Well, and everybody that I know that is super artsy like that, whether it's drawing, painting, photography, even some people are into music, things like that. It's always like if they don't do that full time, it's something that you're always trying to squeeze in as well.
Exactly.
Because that's what you love.
Exactly.
And that's why I was asking if you loved the tech world you were in. And if you kind of felt
something
like
was missing,
you were missing
now.
this here, right?
So the tech world, when I was in there, I loved the work, but it was missing that creative aspect. So
and that's why I was kind of bringing it together, So that makes sense as to why you wanted to, at the time, right? You've told me how you ended up with your company, and we'll get to that, but. At the time, were you thinking that you wanted to try to combine it in some way, or did that kind of happen accidentally?
No. Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something with my creativity, and I've always wanted to start my own business. And I've always loved fashion,
Yep.
and so it was the right time. Everything combined. It was the right timing for everything.
Let's get into it. How'd it come together? So you told me before, and I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, so I couldn't find thigh highs that would stay up on my leg. Everything would either fall off, not because I'm super skinny or anything. It was just
I was going to say, why is that? I don't know anything about,
Yeah.
women's thigh-high
hosiery.
stockings.
Yeah, no, because at the time, the thigh highs that I could find here were just poorly made.
Okay.
Or the ones that were accessible, they were like $100 per pair of stockings, which
Yep.
didn't make it feasible for
What do
me
they
to-
typically go for?
So for me, we sell them at around $24.95.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you want, something from our competitor,
Yep.
same quality, it could go for $100 per pair.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just couldn't find the right fit at the time.
Well, not just the right fit; it was just the material.
Yep.
So a lot of the thigh highs that were available at the time were made with this rubber band on the
Okay.
top, where over time it just wears
stretches out
It
or-
stretches
yeah,
out
yeah.
and wears out. Whereas the stockings that we make, we use silicone, and they just stay up.
Okay.
It's magical.
And they stay up then they last? All
Yeah.
right.
So long as you take care of it, they last.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me how the business, the transition went from being full-time in corporate America to,
It was a jump that I had to kind of
Yeah.
I put the stick
again,
on
that's it, Vienne. That's what you have to do.
Yes.
So many people think that if you want to go start a business or create something, you can do it in your spare time.
No,
No.
I didn't. I think it's
All
called
in.
moonlighting. I think that's the term. I didn't want to do that.
No.
I used, again, my birthday as like the deadline.
Yep.
And I said, I got to do it. Like, that's the day I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to do this full time. But I mean, it wasn't like, okay, let me quit my job and then think about it. It was several months of
Had it all planned out.
planning and sourcing and everything. Back to my childhood, when
Yeah.
I was in high school, I traveled to Italy as well with the school. And so I was familiar with traveling to Europe, especially to Italy. And so that had always been, on my mind. And when I started sourcing, that was the country that I was like, okay, I have to go back here.
Awesome. So tell me about because what I think anybody who's listening or watching always wants to kind of understand when they listen to us and the folks I talk with is how'd you do it, right? Like you said, you planned and you had it all kind of mapped out before you left your job, before your birthday deadline.
Yeah.
But what did you do? What were the first steps?
Sure. The first step was building a brand.
Yep.
Because at the time, I really didn't know who the customers would be. I didn't know if it were someone young, old, etc. But I knew that hosiery or fashion accessories are typically worn by women who are confident and who are stylish, and so I incorporated that into my brand positioning, which is VienneMilano reveals the style and the confidence of a woman who knows how to be elegant, playful, and sexy in every occasion. Yeah.
Nice.
And so we picked those words because I think the connotation, especially in the U.S., is that thigh highs is something you wear for a hot day. But I don't think that's the case. It could be something you wear to work.
Right.
And so I incorporated the word elegance to the brand positioning. That's the first word. It's also playful. It's sexy. I'm not saying it's not sexy, but it's the last thing.
Doesn't have to be just sexy. It can also
Exactly.
be, functional and everything else.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so with that brand positioning, I built like a presentation so that, or a mood board, if you will. I think that's the better term for it.
What do you mean?
So it's a presentation that had all the images of what I believe felt like it fit this brand positioning that I mentioned.
Okay.
And so when I visited suppliers in Italy, that presentation was brought. And so it was a good way to interview and to get to know folks before, is this a good fit for us? Or maybe they're not a good fit for us, or et cetera, et cetera.
So I like that because you knew you were doing this. You knew it was going to happen no matter what. So essentially, you were going to interview the manufacturers.
Yeah.
You weren't going to ask. You were going to
No.
decide if it was a good fit for you.
Yes.
I love it.
And that's really important because Italy in particular, there are a lot of, well, first of all, even though I'm familiar with it, it's not like a country that I go every day or every
Right.
month or whatever. So there's still some discrepancies at the time for me. And so I needed to know, like, what the heck I'm getting into,
Right,
right?
right.
There are certain parts, especially in Italy, that are agricultural it has agricultural ties. So, imagine the one thing that I kept imagining was if the factory was next to a farm, would the hosiery smell like farm, right?
Interesting.
So stuff like that, I wanted to make sure, that wasn't going to be the case. So it was a lot of meeting with new people and finally finding somebody or several somebodies that would fit for us.
So you laid out what the brand was going to be first, and from there you went right to Italy looking for...
Yeah, that year I spent almost 3 months combined in Italy.
Where in Italy?
So this is in the north,
Yep.
in an area called Castelfredo, which is about several hours east of Milan.
Okay.
Yeah, and we chose the name. So the brand name is VienneMilano.
Yep.
We chose Milan because Milan has strong ties with fashion,
Sure.
but it's also where or close to the area where our products are produced.
Yeah, that's awesome. So they're manufactured right there as well?
Yeah.
You say we. Do you have someone else in the business with you?
Yeah, so when I first started, I have a business partner,
Yep.
but I actually purchased the brand for myself. So I'm still used to saying we.
Yeah.
But it's me that I own the brand. So
Right.
it's more power, more responsibility. I'm sure you know what that is like.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like that's almost like a fun stress though.
Yes.
I like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
when it comes to running this business, and I'm sure your business and any other business, it's a lot, but we choose it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We choose it, and for me, it becomes like another child.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And now how many employees are at the company?
So there's 6 of us,
Okay.
but it's not full-time. It's part-time folks that I work with.
Yep.
And everyone is abroad. Well, no, that's not true. There are some folks that are here in the U.S., but,
Okay.
our IT person, he's in Rome.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there's, our, other folks are in Quincy. So
Yep.
my business, as you may have seen on our website, is in Quincy. And there are folks who come in to help us fulfill.
Because you probably contract out a lot, right? As far as
Yes.
manufacturing things?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I asked that, I was going to say, like here, we've got, I think, 41 employees, something like that. So it becomes, it's almost like I'm a parent to all these guys as well. You know what I mean? And I like that. You know what I mean? I was just going to mention how that happens.
We do have a lot of contractors.
Yeah, and
That's-
you probably feel the same way because you probably work with the same outside people as well.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like they're depending on you, you're depending on them. It becomes, it's a really cool responsibility that I like a lot, It makes it fun, makes life fun.
It sure does. Just because you get to learn so much more about someone else's culture
Yeah.
and you get to interact with a lot of people. But the crux is, though, because, a lot of our contractors are in Europe, I got to make sure I'm up in the morning to answer those messages or get on the phone at an early hour.
Yeah, 'cause what are they, 6 hours ahead?
Yep.
Yeah, Italy, 6 hours ahead.
Yep. Our writer is in Ireland, so she's 5 hours ahead.
That's
from
not
Italy.
bad.
Yeah, but it's still,
How often do you go over?
So I used to go at least every year in
Yep.
January, or late January or early February. But with the pandemic, I have not been able to,
Right.
obviously. My husband and I have been thinking about it. But I think with lockdowns, I'm not sure, because some countries in Europe have strict guidelines,
Yeah.
right? And so when you go there, I'm just afraid that you're not going to get the full experience. But at the same time, I do need to meet my suppliers. I'm on the phone. I talk to them every day. But that face-to-face interaction is important.
Yeah, no, it's different. When you meet someone face to face, it changes the relationship. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's always for the better. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's always for the better.
Unless you really don't like them for sure.
Right, unless you don't like, unless you
I
meet
don't
them
know
and
why.
they're like really rude and you don't like them at all.
Something like that. Yeah, it could go
But
either
that could
way,
help
though.
too.
Yeah,
You could say, I don't want to work with this person anymore.
It cuts things out really,
Right,
fast.
right. So I know we've been bouncing around, but so you start the company, you start the brand, you go over to Italy, you meet your suppliers, manufacturers. What do you do from there? How do you get it going?
Grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. We focused a lot on online marketing,
Yep.
SEO, advertising, online advertising, everything, influencers marketing.
Yep. What was your first year in business?
What do you mean?
First year that you were in business selling product?
Yes. So that was in 2011.
Okay, so 2011. Do you know the numbers you did in 2011?
Well, we launched in 2011 in November, so it was a short month.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the first year, it was pretty good, actually. I don't remember exactly, but I was like, oh, hey.
So you were moving.
Yeah, we were moving.
Yeah.
Not at the speed of, say, Uber,
Right.
you know, or Tesla, for example.
right.
But it was enough for me to say, you know what, I did the right thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad I did this full time, and that there's a lot of potential here. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm still here today.
Now, did you start with, because I was on your website and you have, I mean, it has to be a couple hundred products on there, right? In the beginning, did you start with just a few products? Did you have as
Yep.
many as you have now?
That's a great question. So when we first started, I only had 2 sizes, small and
Okay.
large, and the reason was because I wanted to focus on a selection of colors and texture. But then now we have 5 sizes, so we range from small to 3XL. We also have, different. Way more colors than before. But we also have eco-friendly stockings, which are stockings that are made from nylon that typically are thrown away, but we bring it back and we make it into yarn and reuse that material.
Oh, that's cool. So are you using the recycled material, or your materials are recyclable? Is that what you're saying?
So some of the products are made from nylon that are reused.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. And that will help you too, just because so many people are so environmentally, conscious.
Yes.
So,
I can't say that all of our products are made from this material. But
right. But even some,
yeah.
it certainly helps.
It's a start.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Before
And-
the. Okay.
No, I was going to say, how long have you been doing that?
So it's been 3 years, but prior to the pandemic, one project that has been on my mind, and I think we're going to start things up again, is there are actually material that are biodegradable.
Yeah.
Like, so imagine you're tired of wearing a pair of stockings and you just want to throw it away. They biodegrade,
Yeah, that's great.
But the crux in that is, some manufacturers or producers will say that they will biodegrade in 5 to 10 years. But you're like, do they really?
Like, how do you really know?
Yeah.
Who's going to dig them up in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, or like we're just going by your word because I don't have 5 to 10 years to
Right, to test it out.
Test that out, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Because you can't really speed up the process.
No.
You just have to throw it in the ground and see what happens.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so you're moving along. You launch your products. You're growing. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that because what always happens in any business that I've seen is the first couple years are one thing, then it turns to another. So there's no way it can have been the same for the last 10 years, right?
No.
What are some of the challenges you've come across and some of the hurdles you've gotten past?
That's a great question. So actually, it goes back to the very beginning. When we first launched, our manufacturers in Italy were saying, hey, you're launching this brand. You're selling to American women. American women only wear black, because I wanted colors in my collection. I thought, no, I consider myself to be American. I love to wear colors.
Yeah.
And so we added colors to the collection. But the key learning there was he wasn't exactly wrong, our supplier. Black tends to be our best seller, but there are women who may search for example, red stockings. They may find us, but they convert and they buy black hosiery.
Sure.
So long story short, it's balancing, okay, how much color and what color do you want in your collection versus just black.
Right.
I don't want it to be a all black collection. And I wanted to mix things up, but finding that right balance could be a little tricky.
Now, do you, so as far as how you manufacture, bring that up, do you manufacture, X amount of product, or do you kind of make them based on demand?
Yep.
How do you adjust that?
Yeah, so there's something in our collection called Permanent Collection, and these are our best sellers. I can't take credit for them because they're, your sheer stockings, fishnets,
Sure.
back seam. Some of these products have history to it that that's why they're so popular. And so those are items that I buy and import.
Yep.
But then there are styles that I get to design because I am, I like to design things.
Yeah.
And so those are styles that tend to have a smaller quantity. But our customers know that because, they know that when we launch something that is from our fashion forward or signature collection, it's only going to be available for a short amount of time. And so there are men who buy our products for their wives. They're like, I know she's only going to have them for a short amount of time. And they'll buy 7 pairs for their wives at a time. In addition to some of our best sellers.
Gotcha. So as far as manufacturing, though, you don't make to order, right? You make batches and that's what you sell?
It's,
Is that the way it goes?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So we there are items that they are available. I buy, and then there are certain styles that I batch order or I design a certain quantity of, and then I bring it over.
Oh, cool. Did you have any issues through COVID, right? So if you think about it, right?
Oh my God.
COVID happens, everybody's in their pajamas for 6 months.
Yeah, so that's actually like another story altogether. I was actually pregnant at that time, and so I don't know, it was pregnant brain or something. Leading up to COVID, I had like quadruple the amount I typically order per that month. Well, very gradually.
When, in March of 2020?
Yes.
Yeah, because everything up until then was
exactly
booming, screaming. Everything was
Yes.
incredible.
Well, actually, it was the month before because in Italy, that's when things had gotten crazy
Right, in
in
February.
Italy. And so, I knew things were getting crazy in Italy, but I didn't know to what extent. And 1 week was delayed, 2 weeks led to another, and the next thing you know, I'm like, wait a minute, what the heck? Like, this is getting really delayed. Like,
Yeah.
I, had to get on the phone and really just, I don't want to say like yell and scream at my supplier, like, hey, what the hell? We've been working
Yeah.
together for a very long time. I need this ASAP, not because of the pandemic, because I didn't know what we were getting into. It was because
Right.
I was pregnant. I was like, hey, I'm going to have this baby
Right.
soon. Like,
Right.
you guys need to deliver this stuff. Anyway, it all worked out. Got my stuff out of Italy. It was 2 days before the country shut down.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how close we were to
Right.
not getting any of this stuff out.
But that was that order, though. What happened after that? So were you guys...
No, but because I had like quadruple, I had backlog.
Right.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't because
Wow, that worked out well then, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not because like I was like, oh my God, this pandemic's gonna happen and I
Right.
should. No, it was just purely because I was pregnant.
Right.
And so we actually had enough for supplies to last for a while. Certainly, once the pandemic did hit, things had slowed down.
I was going to say, so you had the supply. Did you have the demand at the time?
No, 2020 was a slow year for
Right,
us because I think with hosiery there is a certain aspect of it that relies on social interaction. You
Absolutely.
do have to see people,
Yeah.
and when you're locked up at home, you're not going to be seeing people. But 2021, something happened.
Yeah.
Things.
Well,
clicked.
everybody wanted to go back out.
Exactly, and we were able to.
Yeah, everybody was dying to go back out because when everybody was on lockdown for those, some places were 3, 4, 5 months, 6.
Yeah.
Some companies that I talked to, everybody's still working from home.
Yep.
But it was funny because so we closed here March 15th, I think it was. Me and my family were actually in Puerto Rico at the time of vacation. When we left, like the beginning of that week, it wasn't like a big emergency.
Did you have trouble coming back in?
No, fortunately our flight was okay and we got out, but we got there and we had 2 days of regular vacation, and then the island went on like lockdown.
Oh my God!
And so
You got out right in time too.
we had to like sit in our hotel room and do
Oh,
nothing for 3 days
Oh my
because
God.
nothing was open. Everything, and
Yeah.
we couldn't leave the hotel room, nothing. But so we got back here, everything, from Puerto Rico. I sent an email to the company saying, all right, everybody go work from home. And fortunately, everything was set up so people could work remotely anyway. That was already all in place. And so we were closed for like 2 months. Actually, what was it? March, April, May, I think into June, about 3 months. But I came here every day anyway. Like I was
Yeah.
at home, I think for like 2 days.
Yep.
And I said to my wife, I'm like, I can't do it. I'm like, I need to get dressed. I need to go to work.
Yep.
But my point I'm getting at is everybody kind of got used to dressing one way for a little bit, which was, casual.
Yeah.
Like I stopped wearing suits and I just got more casual. And then even when everyone came back in, that kind of stuck for a while.
Yep.
But then I think it was like the end of the year last year or the beginning of 2021, people were like, you know what? I want to get dressed again. I want to look like a normal person
Yeah.
again. And
I can totally relate
Yeah.
to that. When I lived in Boston with my husband, and our building had 200 units.
Right.
And even to get the mail, I was like, no, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to get dressed up.
Yeah.
Just to get the mail,
Yeah, just to go out and you feel alive, feel like you're getting dressed, you're getting ready, because otherwise you just feel like it was making people feel like they were just like in the same at the same speed all the time.
Yeah. You didn't know, because you weren't seeing family at
Yeah.
the time. I needed something to tell me this was a different month, a different
A different day, different time of day.
Yeah.
Like for me, very much like part of my process is, in the morning I get up, I'll put on some gym clothes, I'll work out, then I take a shower, I put on my work clothes, I go to work.
Yeah.
The second I get home, I go upstairs to my closet, I put on casual clothes, and you know what I mean? So it's like what I'm wearing kind of changes what I'm doing and how I'm feeling mentally.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are ready to put on their hosiery and get back out.
Yeah.
Right? So this year really picked right back up for you?
Yeah.
Good.
But especially, I would say after fall, everyone was ready.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We're back up to like where we were in 2019. I hope, things continue to be that way.
I think so. I mean, we're going to have, I think for a while, we're going to have challenges with COVID as we're seeing again right now, especially coming into the winter, but hopefully things will continue to get better.
Yep.
So as far as what I was thinking about for a while, and I haven't gotten to ask you yet, so you get your supply in. Do you distribute everything yourself?
So everything comes to Quincy,
Yep.
and it's shipped and mailed from Quincy. Yes, I don't do it myself. There's some.
No, that's what I mean. But I mean, you as a company.
Yes.
You guys actually send everything out?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
We worked with 3PL before, somebody to ship it for us.
Yep.
But in the end, because hosiery is not exactly like especially my hosiery, it's not a commodity, not like a pen or whatever.
Sure.
Sometimes there are urgencies, or sometimes there's Vogue, they might need something like right away.
Yep.
And so you want that control.
Yeah.
You can see some pattern in my, in what I'm saying, which is I like to be in control of certain aspects
Well, it's good.
of things.
You want your quality you want to have a top-notch quality product.
Yes.
And I think in order to do that, you do need to be in control.
Yes.
Because other people are never going to care as much as you do.
Yes.
That's just the way it is.
Yes,
you know?
it's your baby.
Yeah.
And so there'll be customers who wants to customize certain things. And, I might say to, customer service, let this customer get an extra pair or try this out or whatever.
Yep.
You don't necessarily have that capability when you work with a third party.
Right.
So, having all of that under your roof allows you to have that flexibility.
Yeah. Do you have any type of special packaging or anything?
So when we first launched, yes, we had a special purple box.
Yeah.
Which I think one of the things that I like to do is bring that back. We still have a purple box today, but it's not as special as it was when we first launched. Today we have a retail packaging. In certain cases, we do gift wrap in the box, and we put it in a purple tissue paper as well.
Yeah, I think it's cool when you get something that has like a signature. That's why I was asking,
Yep.
like a signature package,
Yeah.
or when you I ordered something from this company, and I think it was just like a T-shirt or something, and it was a company that's popped up on Instagram, right? And it came in a gold package. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And because it almost like gets you excited when you go grab the packages outside the garage. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what I was waiting for, So that's I think that having that special purple package, like you said, is a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's, back to business, I guess, challenge. It's balancing certain things, right? So you're an e-commerce business, so you want to make sure it ships fast
Right.
and it ships lightly as well. But at the same time, it's all about branding,
Yep.
right? And so it's just how do you balance that? We've also talked to some customers. There are customers with like 20 of our boxes, and they're like, okay,
Right.
So that's why we do sell the box now. But like I said, it's something that we're working on to bringing that experience back.
Yeah, and I find because I buy we as a family, we buy a ton of stuff online. We buy everything online. You know what I mean? Every single day I go home and there's packages outside.
Yep.
And it's cool when you can see something that arrives and it's like, oh, that's that's what it is rather than some other Amazon box.
Yes.
You know what I mean? All right, awesome. Where's the company going from here? What are you going to do? What's next?
Yeah. Well, gonna grow it like crazy.
Yeah.
Because I think I mentioned it's all my brand now. So now I get to do things my way.
Yeah.
So I have plans on how to do that. We're going to be working with more influencers, more PR, more advertising. We're going to be doing more of everything, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But obviously at a in a way that it won't allow me to lose control.
Right. You want to keep the control, so you keep the quality.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, we'll help you in any way that we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can do anything to help promote the brand. Anna does. That's Anna's thing over there in the corner. Anna does. All the social media. She does all of my social media. I mean, it's still me, but she does it. It is still me. Some people question, did you say that? I'm like, maybe. But we'll help you in any way that we can.
Thank you.
What else should folks know that are watching, listening, know about you, the company? Do you want to talk any more about like individual products?
Oh, yeah. So, there are certain things that are hot items for us. So Black Sheer, Isabella, that is definitely an item that everybody loves, and that's the one that we have available in 5 sizes. Well, there's a lot of products that we have in 5 sizes, but that's the one that everybody loves, and I would highly recommend, any listeners to check that out. Our products can be found on VienneMilano.com.
Okay.
We sell direct to consumer, mainly because when you go to a store, you don't necessarily get to try on hosiery anyway.
Right.
And so that's something that we had decided to do way back when, and the fact that with the pandemic and the fact that there's more people buying online kind of proves the point that stockings is something that is a fit for e-commerce.
Sure. Have you ever thought about selling to other companies?
Yes, we have done a little bit of that. And I think with the pandemic, it's changed my direction a little bit because we have sold and we continue to sell to boutique stores that sell, lingerie or hosiery. We also work with a lot of boudoir photographers who may have like a huge studio and they want to upsell to their customers.
Ed's big into boudoir photography, right, Eddie?
Yeah.
He did some boudoir shoots with his girlfriend.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what it was until he told me. So that's a good idea. Have you talked to? And I just thought of it's not really a hosiery, boutique, but my friend Brenda at Willow in Wyndham.
No, I have not. I haven't had a chance to check them out yet,
So
but I will.
You should. And the reason I say that is Brenda is now selling a lot of clothing in there. And my wife goes in and buys stuff in there all the time. And she's got lots of cool different stuff. She's like real, super fashion.
I'll have to check that out.
You should go and talk with her.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of stores locally that I need to check out.
Yeah. So Brenda, I'll definitely give you her info.
Thank you.
I'm going to have her on as well because she's done a great job with her shop, just like you've done with your business. And I love kind of aligning.
Oh my God, you're like connecting people in
small,
addition to promoting. That's amazing.
Business owners that can help each other because, that's why I like to do this. Who wouldn't want to help a business grow more than somebody who's trying to grow their own business?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And, it goes both ways. I love to help people who are especially like helping us, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm definitely going to refer. I have referred people to
you
you,
have.
actually.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, but it's all about kind of, I found this kind of in life in general, but doing the right thing and genuinely helping people. If you genuinely help people and, give them anything that you've got, it's just going to come back in return.
Yep.
I mean, you don't do it, to get things in return, but that's just kind of the circle of life. That's the way things go. That's the law of attraction,
Philosophy.
Right? Yeah. What you put out is going to come back to you.
Yeah.
All right. This has been great. What about Instagram, Facebook, social media?
Yes.
Where can people find you?
So come follow us,
Okay.
VienneMilano. That's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Not on Snapchat, unfortunately.
Okay.
But those are the social media channels. We're also having a giveaway soon.
Oh, cool.
We've partnered up with, I think, 5 or 6 brands this time, where it's through my friend Holly Cates and her podcast as well, the Fashion Crime podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, so, there's a chance for somebody who follows all of these brands to win, like, amazing prizes.
That's awesome. Yeah, but let's promote it out there. We'll do the same. We'll share it, post it, do all that good stuff. Vienne, this has been great. I can't wait to watch your business grow, continue to do awesome things. We'll push you out there, and maybe we can do this again in 6 months or a year and see where you guys are at.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been such an amazing experience getting to know you.
Thank you so much. And we'll get this out for everyone to see probably within a week or so.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The mic drop.
Subscribe to success.